Doesn't matter how many missiles will send, we are still here in Ukraine and we stay here. Good evening. This is our time to finish this day of the work, the last hour. I won't quote the keynote speakers. You had a whole day to listen to those, and I just want to remember this day of our lives, just to fixate one of the days in the modern history of Ukraine. Just what our attitude, our mood was. Again, we had missiles flying around as we were here, we were working. Yesterday in the evening, I had a call from my neighbor saying, Tanya, a missile fell 300 meters from your home. Maybe you'll come and open windows for these not to break, for the glass not to be shattered. This is the reality. Missiles tried to hit us. On November 15th, we had 100 of them. Today, 16 UAVs and missiles, cruise missiles. So, again, we drink coffee, we study, we communicate, we go to work. We think of how to build new Ukraine. Since February, I've been thinking, whether I need to leave or not. I understand that if we do leave, there will be no Ukraine. So we stay with you here. Without faith in our victory, you won't be spending a whole day of your life. It's so precious right now, every minute. You won't be searching for answers at this forum. The forum could not just take place. Nobody would be bothered. But this whole big team of KIEF is here. I'm so grateful to all the participants, to you, to organizers. I'm grateful to interpreters, of course. They were doing it so emotionally, standing, waving hands, and talking about Ukraine's economy. I'm so grateful to our technical staff. I am grateful to everyone, absolutely everyone, for us staying here today next to each other. The economy is functioning. We still are working. We donate. We keep donating. A whole hour forum, ladies and gentlemen. If you still did not donate for Superhumans project, wonderful project, it soon will open in Lviv. Please do it. QR code, you have it on your badges. You have an hour before it ends. Please support the prosthetics and reconstruction center Superhumans. Okay, so we train, we study, we fight for our survival, and we have this luxury of calling everything as it is. With this name, it's not just some high words. Basically, we are the giants. We are the titans holding Ukraine and world on our shoulders. Earlier, I would say, such a stupid host saying, these words, but this is the reality. What I'm saying is reality. And we are not afraid. We are not afraid. We are angry. We are ironic. We are sarcastic. We are concentrated. We are ready. And we handle that. Not all of it, but many things. Another hour of one of the most powerful economic forums in Eastern Europe, KIEF. So, I'm ready to ask our speakers to come to this panel. Just like previous ones, they will discuss very important things. Vasyl Khmelnytsky, KIEF Initiator, UFuture, and Unit City founder, please. Vyacheslav Klymov, co-owner of Nova Poshta delivery service, president of Ukrainian Entrepreneurs Union. And Serhii Tigipko, task group, please. The first three questions, I'll ask these different ones, and you'll just grab the microphone, fighting for the most constructive and creative answer. Okay, to be given. Serhii, in April and March, when I was tracing a company's function, I was reading all the interviews thinking how a business is holding on. I found your statement, you said it during the launch of new equipment in Kiev, at the concrete plant, you said, we have to recover economic potential of the country very fast, with high quality, launch the industrial growth mechanism and to direct our efforts to recover the infrastructure, rebuild it. Then I thought, and now I think, okay, construction materials, we need it actually to restore the country. With such optimism, you mentioned quality and speed. You knew that your business, successful business, even during the war. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, good evening. We've done a lot within these months. We've lost a couple of plants. We've closed this apple processing plant, so manganese one, and we lost a quarry. But it's a little bit like, let's say, decomposed, close to Kupiansk. And many hectares of land we managed to return. At the border of Kherson-Mykolaiv regions, all of our enterprises, others do function. We stopped the investment program. 12 plants. We haven't stopped them. And these function. Banks are working. We provide loans. Insurance companies provide insurance. Financial sector. Farmers, they do work properly as they should. You know, during the war, everyone has its own task. We are businessmen. We are not military. We have to do our job, you know? So we do it calmly. We have to. Thank you for the answer. Vyacheslav, co-owner of Nova Poshta. On February 26th, I know the reports. You were looking at the reports. Surprisingly, only 2% of the pre-war delivery and supply. The irony is that you got your Forbes award on February 10th in the nomination called New Horizon. Okay, the war for Nova Poshta has become a horizon. But in March and April, Nova Poshta has become your delivery points were the islands of life. People were delivering. People were taking the parcels. Right now, at the occupied territories, we have so many memes. Nova Poshta is coming, is entering. It's the first who enters these territories. The life is reviving. This is a successful business. This is something we need today. Or you also have challenges and problems. These 2%, maybe you forgot about that? Okay. Good evening. Thank you for the invitation. If we want to mention if you have some problems, we have only problems mostly, to be honest. But it does not obstruct us, as Churchill said. You know, it's not hindering us from a failure to failure, from a failure to victory. You know, every day company is handling super complex tasks, you know, as we started doing that in February. And within the last 3 weeks, we had two our big depots substantially damaged. We did not lose them, but these were damaged. These became targets for Shaheds, for the drones, and even, well, despite such risks, company still delivers any kind of cargo, any type of goods to clients. This is our key task. So we don't like sometimes informing our clients, notifying them of some losses, because this is not a problem of the client, really. We have to do our jobs. Even despite this, sometimes we work with huge risks and undershelling. You have so many programs to support volunteers, humanitarian Nova Poshta. Did you calculate what does it give you? Or you just understand that there is no other way? So you don't calculate your benefit. You just give an opportunity to deliver to different Ukrainian settlements and to frontline. The budget of these projects is constantly growing every month. We just expand the budgets, you know, we just add some more. Right now, in total, the budget of our support and volunteers organizations to volunteers and the military, it reaches, last month it reached 45 million hryvnias. And we are growing, we are expanding in that context. Why so? We are a Ukrainian company. And this is our contribution to the victory. Okay, got that. Now, the economy is still functioning, but it's in a very hard environment, in hard condition. We've been talking about it. There are two philosophies. How the country should function in the war. Deregulation, decreasing taxes. Vasyl, this is to you. The other philosophy, let's increase taxes. After the Second World War, England, America were doing that. Okay, just to follow the principles, if the war is expensive, everyone should pay. What philosophy is closer to you? We speak of the forum as the dialogue of state and business. So I ask you. First, I'll talk about the forum, because for the whole day, I've spent it in many sections. We speak of economic growth, points of growth, how to develop the country. This is very good. But in my opinion, what I'd like to underline, what is economic growth? Taxes, of course, production, innovations. But first of all, it's about people. And I'd like to express gratitude to you, those who are in the country. You stay here. How many powerful people communicating, supporting each other, staying here. Thank you for actually being here. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for staying with us. Right now, about the taxes. As a businessman, I want to have small taxes and cheap loans. Yes. Small taxes, cheap loans. 2% with rate, with interest rate. But then the country won't get enough money to develop itself. So we have to get a compromise. And compromise is that the strategy for 10 years. For example, today we have income tax 18. Next year we'll have it 16, then 14. And step by step, within this period, we'll have more businessmen, entrepreneurs, smaller tax, but the flow of incoming money will be even bigger. We need to have this 10-year vision, 10, 15-year vision. As a rule, I can see that everybody wants to do it fast to change, but you can't do it fast. Serhii will tell you. How much time do you need to plan, build, design, build a plan to, I don't know, to launch the plant? How much time do we need for that? 2, 3, 5 years, depending on production. Am I right? You know, patience, 5, 6, I don't know, years. You can just sit for 3 years with losses, then you come to zero, you're bankrupt, and only then you get like, there's luck, and like, whoa, it starts from the scratch, there's some growth. Okay, yeah, and I say this, we need a strategy where we stipulate that taxes will decrease a little bit, more entrepreneurs we have, and more money we have coming to the country. The strategy is the key thing, but also a plan to implement it. Implementing is even better than strategy. But we spoke of strategy a lot, and we had questions from the hall at each panel speaking about strategy. I'll ask globally. Does the state offer you a strategy? Yes or no? Do you see it? I don't know, maybe someone read the strategy from the Cabinet of Ministers last year. That one? Shmyhals, did you read the strategy? I read it carefully, I'd say. Very powerful thing. I don't know who wrote it. Everything we say today, it's like super great strategy. Unfortunately, it's not being implemented. Making a strategy and then step by step, not quickly, but, you know, making it real. Okay, Vyacheslav, coming to you. We'll have the same questions to all of you, but Nova Poshta, this is close to each of us. This is in our hearts. I think I live in Nova Poshta. Every day I go there, I send something to military. And the question, what are the tools? You said you had only problems mostly. What helped you to keep your business functioning? What new tools emerged? Please share, because I promised constructive answers. This is what makes KIEF different from other events. Okay, I think that the first decision we made, and thanks to this decision, we actually made it, you know? Just keep working, you know, keep functioning. If I just remember the first days of full-scale war. By the way, I don't like to do that. I want to erase that, but anyway, from my mind, I just have to remember it to analyze. Only 1 hour, 24 hours, one day, 24 hours. We spent 24 hours to basically, this was February 24th. We spent 24 hours for the employees to ensure the safety, their safety and safety of their families. But I remember this decision, by the way, not the owners, but our management. On February 25th, from 7 a.m., we all have to gather in our reserve center, management center, and to start recovering the operations. I think the first thing that Nova Poshta did, what actually any business had to do, make a decision that despite the war, we have to work. We have to. This was the first decision. And since that moment, we started restoring our operation, recovering. On February 25th, even those 2% that you actually mentioned, but 2% anyway, 2%. It meant that company was alive. Okay? Secondly, I do clearly remember the first months and first 3 or 4 months we as co-owners of the company, we spent with the management. We spent these with the management, and this was the office, 150 square meters, and we had this joke with my partner, that we came back to 2001. It was a time machine for us, like practically 50, 60 people in the team and 150 square meters of our office, like all the resource that we basically had. But we were with our people, and after 3 months, we realized that we can just let it go a little bit and start, to get some dynamics. Other months we spent in Nova Poshta units, in any point we actually were able to go. The management saw us. Our people saw we were there. So this was this was the key tool of leadership, when you don't need to hold the wheel. We didn't hold the wheel, The company was handled by the management. We were just staying close to them. We were next to them. We were seen by people. I think these are 2 key decisions. First, keep working despite the war. Don't take this as a reason to stop your functions, stop your activities. Secondly, the leadership decision to be next to your people, to stay close for them, to see you, to notice you. This was the prerequisite for us to recover fast. Okay, Mr. Tigipko, what lessons you learned in 2022? Global question, but just a sub-question. What decisions did you make? And these were mistakes. And in the process of these 9 months, you refused from it because these were false for business.
Well, I agree with my colleague and counterpart that the major decision is, I don't know, maybe to take the right mood when you're insistent and, and stubborn. So here's these 2 words. And the one who made these decisions, who stayed in Ukraine, now this person has a normal perspective. We didn't have even a question, look, why? Because 6.5 million of Monobank, where would they go? I mean, I've seen those lines of people going outside of the country with the cards. And, my point was that I hope that those cards will keep on working and there won't be a single day for them not to be inoperable. So we took a very important decisions, and what mistakes have we done before the war? First is the export. I believe those businesses that I have that were primarily oriented on the internal market. And this is a problem. Right now, we are signing good contracts with the Europeans, and I can see there is a possibility for cooperation. And we're talking about the construction of cars. We've signed a startup with 2 large companies on the construction of the innovative cars for the Europe using our capabilities. We could do that, but I didn't do that at certain time, because then there's nails, everything perfect, everything perfect. But whenever it starts with the internal market, that turns out to be my product. Then diversification. There were a lot of theoretical conversations. What's better, whether to work and to have one business or to invest in different sectors. We have industrial, financial, agriculture. I think that diversification worked. And I trusted in that, and I keep on trusting in that. Those who have different point of view, well, it's their point of view anyway. And the third thing, we need to have more reserves. And just as any other people engaged in business, they got the money, then they've invested and then bought something new. So I didn't pay that much attention to have more reserves for cases of crisis, or maybe that I have some reserves, but they're not as good or not as significant that would be interesting. So we keep on buying, and now I would buy something more, even though we've just bought partnerships, like because some of the enterprises are facing difficulties, so we need to buy out some of the shares of the other partners. So if we're talking right now that the Ukrainian people, we would like to think that we are unique. So if we are saying that alongside the war there's industrial revolution in progress and there's this some sort of struggle of global against the unique. So talking about the future, is that all about the unique services, or it's all about the banker, or I don't know, the baker or doctor? So should Ukraine produce unique services, or will be overwhelmed with the globalization because that's going to be cheaper in most cases? Mr. Tigipko, that's a question to you and to Mr. Khmelnytsky. Let's deal with simple things. China supplies Europe with many, many products. I've mentioned only one of the products. 1 kilo of the welding works in Europe is €4. That's a good price. We can do this in Ukraine at 3.65. So let's do this. Talking about unique things. Look, let's start with simple things. They're very simple, but they're very lucrative. They would allow us to develop. On the other hand, we are starting to establish a project like a monobank in Poland. Now, that's going to be a unique product. So should we do this or that? It's hard to say. We have businessmen in here, and I'm confident that what Vasyl has already mentioned, those who will survive under such conditions, those who will manage to preserve their own production capacities, that would be kind of a brilliant reserve for the country. Because, we will have so many things that we had in the past that our resilience would be absolutely incredible. With that potential, we would be successful even in the smaller things, but then in the unique things as well. Like, let me give you. We didn't have any negative things, but let me give you still more of a positive things. I'm trying to give some negative things and some positive things. I don't want to praise the cabinet of ministers and things like that, but they are making some positive steps. For example, this motivation for the industrial park. I have an industrial park, and half a year ago I thought that maybe only after a year or after a war there will be foreigners coming to the industrial parks. But this motivation, they changed the situation. Just last week we had Polish experts, Polish people saying that we are confident that you'll be victorious and you'll be developing. We want to have the production of materials located at your territory. 2 weeks ago, the Germans came in. They rented a premise and they started, hiring. So the war is not over, but then there's positive steps as well. What I also liked is that they were lacking the people, the employees, So they called a person who was in Poland. His family was still in Poland, and they persuaded him to return back to Ukraine. So we need to create conditions for our talents to return to Ukraine, and we can see that this is possible now under conditions of war. And when this war will be over, then I agree, when the war is over, we'll have absolutely incredible opportunities to rebuild something very fast. We have very good potential. That is why the production is starting to revive and people are starting to return. This is something that I like. So this is what Vasyl Khmelnytsky said, meaning the unit city, which is the ideal micro world in KIEF. And Ella Ivanova, in one of these panels, she said that in Greece they had an outflow of the human potential, but when the people were leaving the country, there's always the banners saying Greece is waiting for you, and that's kind of a hint that your country needs you. So here's this question, and Vasyl Khmelnytsky started to answer with specifics how the economy should look like, how the welfare should look like in a post-war country, and even now, because the people are returning, but their situation inside the country is still fragile. Now, what do we need to change for the better in order for the people to return? I mean, everyone can give their own examples, because your families have left the country, and how do you maintain communication with them? So please. First and foremost, it's all about the capabilities. Well, people are saying we need the youth, we need the people to return, the talents. We need. Look, they won't return if we'll not provide an ecosystem in here when they will be able to earn some money, when they will be secure. Yeah, but they won't be in security. Well, not today. Not everyone has a minus second floor. Well, after war, they will be safe. They will be safe. We need to create preconditions. If we just want to have it happen, they won't be returning. So our task is to create conditions for them to dream of returning to Ukraine. I'm confident about this. I want to add briefly, if we want them to return, we need to have at least 5 to 7% of economic development per year. If we'll have 7% of economic development, there will be a line of people, because the people in Lithuania, in Germany, in Romania, and any other countries, they are not feeling anything positive, and everyone dream of one thing, how to return back home. So we need to create the economic development. With that, we'll have a return of people and we'll be hiring foreigners. Do you see the tools for the country and for your own business for this to happen? Because if Unit City is having Poland and German experts coming, then they won't need the state to participate. But still, what possibilities can be offered by Serhii Tigipko, for example? Look, I don't know, the past 8 months, I haven't seen not a single minister, I didn't need. We kept, asking, we kept talking about the state, but why do I need them? I have my own problems, and I'm dealing with them. Why do we need to rely on them? I mean, there's a war in progress. I think we need to do our own job. Sometimes we need to keep our mouth shut when we want to criticize something, because there has to be some sort of a consolidation, saying that they're great, starting from president on all the way to the ministers. And let's keep the critics until after the victory. The taxes, what sort of taxes? We're completely dependent on the external funding. We'll be reducing the taxes and people will be given money as? Well, nobody's going to do that. Deregulation, they're doing that. There won't be too much of that. Let them do that. Let them continue doing that. Great job. Digitalization, that's something that they're doing that. Well, great job. We need to praise the minister for that. But, well, does it help us a lot? Maybe not. Maybe we can't feel it, maybe because of the war. We need to take decisions and we need to move on. And we need to ask from ourselves, first and foremost. That's the first thing. And secondly, we need to help one another at this micro level when there is a possibility to support one another, starting from like any human aspect till the industries. I think this is something that we need. I mean, in the war, in times of the war, there's a lack of centralized state order. Everyone is helping or assisting in an intuitive manner. Both Nova Poshta and me, we are funding and we keep funding, and that's the right approach. Why? Because we are invincible as long as the war is national, and it remains national when we support it every day. Someone with 5 hryvnias, other with millions, and God forbid us stop at this moment. This should be done until the end of this war. So that's the mood. That's something that we need to preserve. For example, like, what do we need? Drones. In terms of the production, that's nothing. We could do that like very fast. Anything else? We're trying to do that, intuitive. I remember in Lviv, in just over a month, there were 3 production facilities for bulletproof vests. Nobody told anything. The business owners, started organizing. Someone gave metal, others, some fibers and things like that. So there's no kind of coordinated inquiry. Thank you for the answer. But that's the unique feature of our country. I've heard this term that common or joint economic interest is the best tool. So let us discuss this common economic interest of the government, of the authorities. Maybe Vyacheslav can mention on this in continuation to what was already mentioned. Now, what should be like this common or joint economic interest, which is the best tool for safety, as to some of the economists? Well, for the beginning, for the start, there's this phrase. I would give a goodwill gesture from the state and to deblock many millions of custom invoices and tax invoices. Then I would recall this cooperation with the businesses. These are not the state funds, but they're blocked by the state. So I support Serhii in the sense that a successful or like any ordinary business, the role of the state is, to see that as rarely as possible in your own business life, because we have to cooperate with the state when we are, fulfilling the laws, when we are paying the taxes. But as for the business, we don't need any preferences, any bonuses. We don't need any support. Even more, as a rule, support from the state, it costs a lot in future. So I believe that successful business doesn't need the support of the state. Absolutely. And where this support might be necessary, well, if we are talking about the support coming from the state, that's in deregulation, meaning that every day the role of the state in cooperation with the business, it has to go down. Yes, through deregulation. If we'll ask the European businessman, when was the last time he saw a tax inspector, he will say he never saw that person. He's not contacting. He's contacting the country through some electronic tool, through reports, but he never has any kind of counter agent, any representative of the state coming to him. So that is why I'm absolutely convinced that the last will be the influence of the state on the business, then the free and the war freedom would be for the business. And this Serhii's example with the drones, this could be absolutely relevant, because now if the business would be given some full capacities and capabilities in terms of the production of weapons, well, I can assure you we would be able to supply both the armed forces of Ukraine, and some of their foreign partners would be also enough to supply the weapons. And try and organize the factory that would be producing ammunition. That's absolutely impossible. So reducing the role of the state, that would be the major support for the business from the state. Well, the most recent statements that you gave, so should the economy be transferred to cover the needs of the war, now that would be more bonuses for the business. Am I right in understanding your point? Look, it might sound horrible, but war is energy, evidently. And the military-industrial complex is a large, very large global industry. And we tend to give the examples of Israel, where the war has become one of the catalysts for the development of the economy, and the IT and military sector and in governance. So you need to use this. And I'm absolutely convinced that Ukrainian business, somewhere inside of it, there is enough potential for the country to be able to protect itself. When these intermediary elections were organized in the United States, there was this feeling that Republicans are worse than Democrats. But the Republicans are lobbying the development of the military-industrial complex. So, Vasyl Ivanovich, whenever we're talking about the priorities of the economy and the business in this time, we talked about the taxes. But what other priorities? We talked about the establishment of the industrial parks, about some new products. But what's the key messages, the key points that you think are a priority?
So the business can't work without big expenses. And the state as well. I came to Web Summit, Innovative Summit. If I'm not mistaken, like 70,000 people, like a big city. And frankly, I met 1,000, 2 or 3 of Ukrainians, very powerful boys and girls, talented. They're looking for new opportunities. What do I see? They all have this trend on new technology, blockchain, cryptocurrency, billions and billions of dollars. Ukrainians, people who make money, but unfortunately, some of them left abroad without big expenses. We'll have to think about blockchain, cryptocurrency. We'll have a lot of money. We can actually join and support this trend. Because you can make money in Ukraine and you can work here, pay small taxes. The taxes must be competitive when it comes to Israeli, American. This is the new world. We can't lose. I say yes to production, industry. This is important. But we can't ignore new trends. This is what bothers me. How to create an ecosystem for these people to experience to return. Maybe it depends on you, because the same ideas you presented a couple of years ago at UFuture, you said production has to be second after technology. Technology first. And Ukraine can become the hub. Of course, we have now the war, it's still ongoing, but you say that those people with potential, they left, but they still are Ukrainians. How can Khmelnytsky use that potential staying here in Kyiv? No answer. I have no answer. I disagree. For the state to help me or any other person, I never mentioned state. The state must create conditions for all. I agree with Serhii. In Union City, state does not obstruct me, but they don't help me. I'm grateful for it. I know how the world is moving. I'll create the environment. I'm client-oriented. I will fight for each client. If nobody hinders me today, but the state only creates conditions. In my opinion, it's really important. This is our key goal. I just want to add a little bit. First of all, I'm very optimistic when it comes to our future, our post-war future. Why? Because the state is first of all about infrastructure, energy, roads, and so on. The ports, the hubs, we will lose a lot, but we will recover. And this will be of better quality compared to what we had. Infrastructure will be better. A big contribution of president and government. This European vector is moving fast, and it moves hard. I'm not pretty sure that, well, tomorrow if we win, I don't think that we will change as a society really substantially. We need time for it. I really want us all to consolidate, become more honest, to serve our country, but we need framework. We enter European Union, and with this framework, EU will give us the best institutions, the best processes, and in my opinion, this is really important. What is really, what do we lack today? If we speak about economic development, we have two serious components, apart from infrastructure and institutions. Education, and today I don't feel any innovations in education, big innovations. Creating parks, innovative parks, not many of them. Innovations create economic development. We have a very good human capital, great human potential. Education and environment for innovations, we have to work on that. Thank you. Still, again, I'll stick to the statement, human potential. We won't change a society, but right now we are transforming. How we have to transform? At the forum, we had this mental breakthrough statement. What should we have as a mental breakthrough as Ukrainians? To have what, Serhii, when we speak about people? To have what? You know, people are good, but when they start going into politics, they change a little bit. I've seen nice people in authorities who came to cabinet meeting and they took two folders. Something they need to fail, something they want to succeed in two different folders. To me, it seems like what we have to change. We have this initiative, 100 Club. We want to unite the business community, entrepreneurs, in a serious coordination center which would coordinate the activity. We have so many strategies. Vasyl is right. Public should control that. Who tells government? You do not return VAT, this is wrong. You are hitting exporters, and they are the skeleton, they are the spine. It's not the time, I agree, but I think that for all of us, what we need to create these NGOs and strictly control the power, strictly control authorities. That's what we need to have after victory. Be more active, be more strict and harsh, because if victory changes nothing for authorities, for state power, this will be a tragedy. It means that our people are dying for nothing. Vyacheslav, no, for nothing. We just have this issue. We had it in 2014. We thought that military will become the capital for the country. We think again, and military say we are tired of bureaucracy. They say even here at the war, this will be boring, but We want to do that. We even want to simplify the document flow. Vyacheslav, you said that you led the company with your people, staying with your people. But right now, it's 9th month of war. You don't go personally to every unit, but the experience of those spring months, did it change the structure of the company or not? Everything became as usual. I mean, people and the management of the company when it comes to structure. Every day, we try to keep those achievements that we got within 3 first months. Little thing, just little, not many things changed. If we speak of the managerial practices before the war in the company, we had this statement: come to the 15th floor. On the 15th floor, in our office center, what we had there, co-founders, co-owners. And right now, 15th floor is coming to management, visiting management. And this is a fantastic insight for us. We definitely will keep it, and we are even protecting it, somehow. This is the new principle. And again, staying there all the time, seeing that, visiting what's happening like in the network, seeing that for us to be seen by our people, talking to them, using any electronic channels. We have, thank God, we have so many, Telegram, Facebook, many. This is our managerial insight that we work with all the time. In the end of February, business clutched its teeth, was doing it. And those who love theories said, oh, you need to fire people. Just out of your 30,000 at Nova Poshta, you were cutting the staff. It's 30,000 people. It's a big company. Okay, these were the hardest decisions that we made then. We didn't fire anyone. We suspended. We had to suspend the activity in so many units. And just because there was no turnover, no clients, these were just closed. The premise owners just closed those premises. So in a couple of months, we definitely had to make it more compact, the network. Then we analyzed these months, and we thought of that as a mistake. You asked Serhii about mistakes. Well, we optimized our activity within the first weeks of war. This optimization was even stronger than we needed. And then very quickly we restored the network, brought people back. In 3-4 months, the network already started looking like it looked before the war. We brought people back. I think the key focus today for the company is these are our employees who are defending the country. By the way, 2,500 of Nova Poshta employees are at the front line right now. Yeah. I address these applause not to me, but to them, of course. And we try to do a lot for these people, as much as we can. Despite the fact that the law already... the company right now is still keeping the wages for employees. The law already did that, but we are allowed to do that, but they already get not the wages, but this material support. every person who's defending us from our company, and starting from that material support and up to like warm uniform, winter uniform, we do it, we purchase it. I guess it's the key focus right now for us when it comes to employees. This is your choice. Vasyl, you want to add about people? Okay. About the team, quite often I'm asked because I can see that people are worried. Some lost parts of their teams. I just want to tell about my situation. First of all, I don't believe in war. This is my mistake, maybe. I didn't believe in the war, and I just wanted to say that I wasn't ready to the war. I didn't believe in war. I completely was. I lost half of my team, by the way, in this period. But I lost it. I have very powerful people, very talented. We have trainings. I have a powerful team with. We speak 5 languages and they're very talented. But everyone came to me and said, we love the company, we love it, but please tell me, what is the plan for tomorrow, the day after tomorrow? And I don't have an answer. I don't have answers for everything. And to some people, I started saying, people, find a new job, you get experience, you have everything, because talented people who learn, who leave you behind, is it better or worse? If people don't improve their knowledge and stay with you, I'm their partner, I respect them, I work with them. We look for collaboration. I'm sure that every time we are doing a big job. Yes, I think that the war changed everything. I lost a part of the team, but I see an opportunity. If we respect each other, and what is important, what I've seen in the war, that I was building this democratic team. We always have this argument. We do have these, but when it's the war, the owner is responsible for making decisions and responsible for this. And I did it, and it works. Please, Serhii, you spoke of the lost enterprises. Again, a global question. As a businessman, do you expect to get reparation or not? Or the state will get it, nobody knows when, but Natalia Yevchenko at the panel spoke about that. Still, the country is thinking about specific numbers. Do you think of that? This will be a wheel of fortune to stop at the right place. I don't expect that to happen. But when we speak of 5-year recovery, well, today I was sitting at the conference thinking, how many years would it take to recover? I'm sure what we've lost, the production and so on, we didn't stop investment. I came from Dnipro. These 7, they're ready to take from Italy 7 lines. And also wire coppering lines. We had these plans before the war. We had the advance payment, and now it's there. I don't need 5 years. In a year, we will do even more than we did before the war. So, reparations, I would not expect. I would rely on myself. Colleagues will talk a lot about recovery, if there are funds, no funds. With the funds, it will be hard because foreigners are about to give money. They will harshly control it. Foreign companies will win many tenders. They get the bids. And it's fair, it's their money. It's their taxpayers' money. So, I would advise all of us today, please be careful with the banks. Work with them. Look for various programs. Think about restructurization and so on. Because after the war, the key resource will leave the banking system. The rates will go down. And this will be a prerequisite. When we speak about economic growth, 90, 85%, always, in every country we had the internal resource. This gives the economic growth, not external investment, 10, 15%. At max, we need internal resource. Please be very careful with the banks. Be attentive. Rates. Yes, they fight inflation, the rates are high, tomorrow they'll fall. And unfortunately, well, we have no stock market. The banks will help to restore the country and enterprises.
Well, I don't really believe in reimbursements, so all I've lost, I forgot about this. But you know, if someone believes in reimbursement, I can sell them. You know, the assets I've lost by 50% of their value. Well, loans is the major sort of locomotive for the forest. And have you tried to search for loans, considering some of the terminals that were destroyed in Mariupol and many others, or you didn't need any kind of new loans? Well, speaking of the loans, it's hard for me to argue with Mr. Tigipko what he mentioned the banks, but in this respect, I sort of share the ideology of Henry Ford, who says that all of your investments are at the lines of your factory. So I believe in the investment capabilities, and mostly this is all about the generation of the money that you earn. And at the same time, I realize that building significant capacities, just like our terminals, it is impossible without loans. And thanks God, we've commissioned, before the war, we've commissioned some of our constructions, and we've restarted these constructions. We are building fast, and when we went to the banks and we asked for the interest rates from the banks, and we won't be able to work with those interest rates from the banks. I think the process of issuing loans is stopped at the moment. Well, I don't know the businesses who are capable to work under the interest rates offered by the banks at this moment. But the businesses, they shouldn't take care of that. If you don't have a loan, then you need to generate something on your own and build using your own money, and then wait for those golden times that Serhii is mentioning about. If you don't have enough of your own money, search for cheaper technologies in order not to require that much investments. Search for a solution. There's always a solution. Anything the businessmen should be focusing on, maybe something they've missed about. Serhii Tigipko mentioned about one of the types of the businesses that he missed. So what do you think is something that some of the businesses might be missing? So what should they be focusing on? I'm not talking about the business amateurs. I'm talking about the businessmen with experience. I think we have this 8th forum or 9th forum. We started like 6 or 7 years ago, and there was a person asking me a question. Now, when will this crisis end? How much time do we need to wait? Well, I know what he's expecting of. I'd say that, well, maybe 5 years. And he was happy, but then he said, I couldn't wait for so many years. Look, the crisis will never end, really, so we shouldn't expect this to happen. It all depends on us, so we shouldn't wait. We need to work to do some things now. I have enterprises which are not giving me the income, but I understand that in 3 months there will be 0, and then there will be 5 or 7%. And I agree with Serhii that when the war will be over, then we'll be very powerful. So I'm saying that just don't wait. Keep working under these very difficult times. So the best advice is to deal with your most favorite business. One more advice, just to complement Vasyl's words. People are sitting in Monaco and Vienna, but just take a look what is happening to their enterprises. Follow the competitors. Today you can buy them cheap. So I think we could draw some conclusions to this panel, which is called Winning Economy. So this is the economy which is not waiting till the end of the war. And this war has caused damages not only to Ukraine, but that's a damage dealt to the global economy. And we've all talked about what the government, what the state has to do, just not to interfere or maybe to assist. What about the world? Dear panelists, what do you think? The world, I mean, do they have to support us, or will you say that it's not, our recovery is going to be much more expensive for them than their kind of a faster response? Let me start. I'd say that the answer will be very close to Serhii's answer on reimbursements. That's going to be a super bonus. Or how did you say that? Golden opportunity. Oh yeah. So it's harsh, but the world doesn't have to do anything to us, and this horrible war in Ukraine, it's like a piece of the puzzle for the global world, and I don't think that it plays a very significant role for giants. We keep, spending the time on whether China will enlist to support Ukraine or not. I think that Ukrainian war for the China is a very small hotspot on a large globe. And if we will accept the thought, then we realize that we need to be responsible for ourselves. Even more, this point, it draws a bridge to the economy, because when the war will be over and the support will be over, whether there will be a Marshall Plan or not, nobody knows about this. But the support will finish, the weapons will finish, any donations, they will also stop, and we'll be left ourselves one-on-one with this imperial neighbor, because you can change anything except for geography. Therefore, we have to think now, and whenever we are talking about the post-war life, we need to think how we're going to live with such an aggressive neighbor in future without this support. Therefore, we have the peak of support at this moment, and then we'll live with that on our own. But the good news is that in Ukraine, inside Ukraine, there's very powerful potential that is well enough for the protection and for the development. So that's my position. Serhii? Well, I fully, disagree with that. I think the democratic world has to support us, because if the big neighbor will be coming to the weaker neighbor, to a less weak enemy, and if they would be able to grab something with the force, and nobody would respond to that, then there's so many reactions, there's so many consequences in the world that the whole world will be in fire. That is why I think that the democratic world doesn't have to make sure that Russia obtains not a single bonus out of this sort of actions. I've just recently been to Poland. We're signing the contract, and they realize this absolutely perfect. They are saying that Ukrainians are fighting for us. I've been at the ambassador of the Baltic country, and he says if Ukraine, God forbid, loses, we'll be the next. So I believe that the responsible countries, they clearly realize this, and they're not supporting us just just for the sake of support. They're afraid of the chain reaction. And the non-democratic countries, that's not their war, absolutely right. But the war might come at their doorstep. And that's why the fact that we have support is absolutely correct. Look, I'm flexible. I support both Klymov and Tigipko. Look, you make a favor to a person. You help that person. And if that person pick up a cell phone and said thank you, I think that's good. That's great. So everything depends on us. If we'll get assistance, that's great, but we can't count on that. We'll get united. We're working. We're a very hard-working nation. And I think we'll be constructing a system that would be defending us and that would be developing. But if the world would provide us with cheap loans, with weapons, then of course we would be happy to agree to that. But we shouldn't be waiting for that. We need to work on our own as well. Thank you. Thank you to all the speakers. So we rely on ourselves, not wait for the end of the war. And we keep talking about the fact that our armed forces are heroes. And today we had yet another day because our air defense and missile defense kept working. But now is the time when we can become heroes in every sphere. When you sell coffee in the morning, they're all. So thank you for coming today, for more knowledge, for not sitting at home, for making this country powerful. Now I'd like to invite you everything for a coffee. But now, at first, let's have a photo with the speakers of our final panel. But what's more important, we'll see you in 1 year. So don't change your plans. Life continues. Thank you. And this concludes the KIEF International Economic Forum 2022.